Welcome to the Barber Biz Podcast. I'm your host, Dan Brown, and we look forward to our first chat with Easy the Barber as he talks about branding, how he built his clientele, and what's in store not only for his brand, but also for he and his partner's brand, Beauty and the Beast, Barber and Beauty. Let's get right into it. We are here with Easy the Barber. I would say what his real name is, but I'll let him tell you that himself if he chooses to. Tell us kind of like a little bit of your background, how you got started in the industry.
Professionally, I guess I'm Easy the Barber. I've been cutting hair for about 7 years now, going on 7 years. I have a corporate background, and I just couldn't take it anymore. Literally walked out of my job one day. I mean, it was a good job, but I just couldn't take it. And I knew I had to make a decision. I didn't want to work another job like ever again. So I had to figure out like what I was going to do the rest of my life. And I went through all kind of different career paths, wrestling with what I wanted to do that I would enjoy doing. I ended up speaking to several different barbers, some owners, some barbers. Barbering has this misconception that it's just like, it's a hustle, it's just something to do. You know what I mean? There's a lot of barbers out there that don't take it serious. So, speaking to the people who did it for a living, like career professional barbers, kind of like enlightened me, let me know that there was, other options out there and that this was something that you could actually do and support a family with. That was really important. So, I went to barber school. I made a decision to go to barber school. It took me a year. Upon completing barber school, the day I finished barber school, I started in the barbershop, and I've been cutting hair since. I haven't done anything else.
Okay.
I don't, right now, today, I don't want to, I enjoy it. I love it. I love coming to work every day.
What do you get the greatest source of satisfaction from when it comes to the services that you do provide?
I love being a barber, like not cutting hair, but being a barber. My clients kind of allow me to provide services that your regular barber won't provide. You don't see a lot of people going and getting facials. You don't see a lot of people getting peppermint infused steam therapy treatments, from their barber. These are, things that I just love to provide. It's a benefit to me because, it allows me an opportunity to make more money from behind the chair. But it's a benefit of my clients too. They feel pampered when they come in. Part of the reason that I came to this setting was to be able to provide a more exclusive, a more intimate setting, to be able to provide more services in that setting to make my clients feel even more comfortable when they come in and more relaxed and even more at home, when they're coming in getting service. So it's like beyond haircuts now. It's about the service. I don't even provide quote unquote haircut underneath my services that I list on my style sheet. I more so just provide different services, and those services take up this amount of time, and that time costs this much.
What are some of the differences that you've noticed between being in a salon suite or a barbershop suite as opposed to being in a typical barbershop environment?
There are a lot of differences. For myself personally, I think I'm an extroverted introvert.
Okay.
I can speak to anybody, I can converse with anybody, but sometimes I just don't want to.
Yeah.
I appreciate the privacy of a salon suite. I appreciate the intimacy of it. When my clients come in, it's family. I don't have just random people coming to me. Everybody is known. I know you. I'm aware that you're coming. I appreciate that intimacy. The barbershop is an open environment. Oftentimes, you're kind of just accessible to the public even if you don't want to be. Sometimes I just don't want to be that accessible. So for me personally, this was a perfect, compromise for me to be able to have a place to service my clients that I don't have to be out in the open as much. That's great for some people. And it's not a bad thing. I do miss it sometimes about, being in the barbershop and being able to have that sports conversation with, a group of people. Yeah. I miss that sometimes. But for the most part, I love the intimacy of being in my own suite and being able to kick back and really feel like my clients are now coming home to me. That's how I feel now. So
Okay.
That's probably the biggest difference for me, and that's probably the thing I appreciate the most about it.
As you mentioned, it seems as though really it's not necessarily the environment for everybody, but it's something that you really built towards. So I'm going to ask you a two-part question. First question is, what's the best business decision that you think that you've made since day one of getting out of barber school? That second part of that question is going to be, what's the worst decision that you've made since getting out of barber school? All right, so go ahead. And you can really pick which one you want to answer first. It's up to you.
I actually like that question. That's pretty cool. I never thought about it. I think the best decision that I have made as a barber since getting out of barber school was developing a brand. Easy the Barber, it's easy to remember, and it's who I am. My nickname has been Easy since I was a kid. My uncles used to call me Easy E when I was a child, so it was easy, literally, to come up with it. But just having that and having people in public know who Easy the Barber is, it's amazing. So I think that was probably the best decision I've made since barber school, since starting, this career path.
Now, before you get to the second part of the question, was it difficult to be able to start your own brand? Like, where did that even come from? Because most people say, well, I work in a shop and I represent the shop. So what is it that made you decide that you wanted to brand yourself and really make yourself as the forefront of your own brand? Because it sounds like it's easy, but what thought process went into that?
When I was fortunate to have that corporate background, because it kind of gave me a business sense coming into this. I approached it kind of like a business instead of a hustle. So I always had in my brain, I was always thinking kind of ahead of where I was, trying to think, plan for my next move, whatever it was going to be. So the idea came from just knowing that, regardless of what barbershop I go to, like, I am my own business, so if Easy the Barber is working at such and such barbershop or such and such salon or in his own space, Easy the Barber still takes his business with him. And so it just made sense. I can't, I didn't have an epiphany or anything about it. It was just from a business, having a business background, it kind of just made sense. Okay. And in hindsight, it was probably the best thing, that I've done business-wise, which is why, that question was kind of easy to answer.
So what's the worst decision that you made?
It's kind of funny. I don't really have any regrets for anything that I've done. I've learned a lot of lessons, even when it comes to a bad decision, I don't know that it was a bad decision because everything that I've done or gone through has taught me something that led me here. It's so funny in hindsight, like I could think of everything that I've gone through, but if I had to answer the question, was giving too much of myself to people or a business that wasn't giving that same energy back. I'm loyal to a fault sometimes, and so I'm like the biggest cheerleader. If I'm on your team, I'm gonna rock with you, and I felt like I did way too much for owners, and I'm not speaking for anyone in particular, but when I first started cutting hair, I felt like I learned a hard lesson about working in a barbershop, and that's kind of what eventually led me here, is just knowing that a lot of times your owners they are business people, especially if the owners don't, cut hair, or if they're not involved in the actual industry. If they just own the business, your interests are different. You care from the business standpoint. You're involved in the community. You're dealing with these people on a personal level when they walk in. You're there like on the front line, so to speak. And a business owner, they never actually touch the people. You know what I'm saying? And that disconnect turned me off from working for owners. That kind of like set me down the path to eventually own my own, because I knew I didn't want to work for anyone for, an extended period of time, longer than I had to necessarily. So
you're in a suite now. Would you ever own a barbershop?
Yeah, I would. I've learned a lot that led me kind of away from that direction. I didn't know anything about this suite setting, let's say a year ago. You know, it was a new idea. I knew I wanted to own my situation. I knew I wanted to be, you know, on my own. I thought traditionally that meant a brick and mortar, you know, establishment, and I had to hire a staff, I had to advertise, and I had to get people, you know, in the chairs. I didn't realize that ownership came in different, you know, different variations, and I didn't realize that owning a suite would allow me an opportunity to pretty much run my business the way I want to run it.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't know. So, like, even just going in every location that I've ever been in, I've learned so much that led me right here that I didn't even know that I was preparing myself for this situation. But just as something as simple as about 2 years ago, I made the decision to stop cutting walk-ins, to just, you know, be appointment only. And it was a little sedity at first, but it prepared me for this, and I didn't even realize it because I don't have walk-ins coming in here to see me. And a barber that waits on the door doesn't eat. I'll lie to you not, I built my whole career in barbering off that statement. Like, I never ever cared about that door, and not that I ever was in a position where I didn't need the door. Like, when I first started, I had nothing, but I wasn't sitting in my chair waiting for it to come in. I was going to go get it. You know what I mean? And things like social media, I thank Instagram, you know, I thank Facebook, I thank StyleSeat. You know, those things are tools that help you. Instagram and Facebook and Twitter, whatever social media that you can use, Snapchat, whatever it is you're using, it's free. And I can't count how many clients over the years that I've acquired from simply posting pictures for free online. I mean, it's amazing, you know. So, like, things like that, like, have prepared me to come here. You know, I didn't know it, but it did.
So what advice would you have to someone who's thinking about going to barber school?
If you're thinking about going to barber school, do it. It'll change your life. The thing about going to barber school and finishing, when I say go to barber school, you got to graduate, you got to finish, you got to get your L's, you know, get your license. It's something that they can't take away from you. Like, you know, you'll have it. You don't have to cut hair the rest of your life. It doesn't hold you to that. But no matter what else you do, you'll be able to cut hair. You know, you can still be a barber, you know what I mean? And I just feel like, almost like how Uber is. A lot of people drive Uber full time. Then you got a lot of people who just drive Uber on the weekends for some extra money. You got a lot of people who just drive Uber to pick up, you know what I'm saying, some spare change to pay bills around the house, or maybe they want to go on vacation, whatever. But you got a lot of people who drive Uber full time. That's what they do. You got a lot of people who cut hair full time. That's their business. That's what they do. Then I know barbers who cut hair as their part-time job. They work full-time jobs. I can't tell them they're not still barbers. You know, but going to school and getting that license allows them an opportunity to go and do something that I know a lot of people who don't cut hair full-time, but I don't know anyone that cuts hair and doesn't enjoy doing it.
So where do you see yourself in the next 2 to 5 years? If you look in your barber book, right, it says that you have short-term goals and long-term goals. So what are some short-term goals that you have? And maybe give me one long-term goal.
Short-term goals, Beauty and the Beast hair studio. Just making it everything. Beauty and the Beast hair studio pretty much consists of myself and a natural hairstylist and braider named Danielle Darden, professionally known as Josephine.
Okay.
She is the hair equivalent of me as a barber. We hustle the same way, we move the same, we are like-minded, and so we came together and the two of us make this hair studio. And so short term, Beauty and the Beast, everything. Like, that is my short term, because Beauty and the Beast winning means we win. You know, and it's a beautiful situation because I don't have to worry, you know, about if such and such is eating, or if such and such is eating, or paying this, you know, bill, or this bill, or that bill. I don't worry about that overhead. We own the suite and we operate our businesses out of it, and it was a perfect situation for us. So making Beauty and the Beast pop, getting those schedules filled, and and just taking full advantage of, you know, the area, the location, the opportunity. That's my short term, you know, that pretty much is my short term goal. That's what I want right now. If I had a long term goal, that's a really great question, because I want Easy the Barber to be like known.
What does known mean?
I want him to be popping. Like I want like I admire so many like barbers that are in this industry that are doing so many different things with this industry. The Tariq Jacksons, the Chink the Barbers, the Step the Barbers. There's so many people, man, I can sit here and name like all day long. There's so many people who I look up to in this industry, you know, and meeting a lot of these people and shaking their hands and conversing with them and realizing that they are no different than me. They're human beings. They bleed the same blood, and we all function and do the same things, you know. And it's like I see them and I don't want to be them. I just want Easy the Barber to be able to achieve things outside of just cutting hair like other people are in this industry, I guess, if that makes sense. I want Easy the Barber to be more than just my name. I want it to be a brand, you know what I'm saying? I guess that's a long-term goal. Like when I retire, I want Easy the Barber to be a brand. I want product, I want retail, I want to touch the sky. Yeah.
So now, you know, I use the word crisp a lot.
Yes, I'm aware.
Not that it's necessarily going to happen, but how crisp would it be if your son said that he wanted to be a barber?
Man, that would be phenomenal. That would be phenomenal. But whatever he wants to do, he's so dope that
we all know that. Whatever he wants to do, you'll support him. But
if he wants to cut hair, but I think like for him, cutting hair would probably be something that I teach him, and whether he becomes a barber or not, like he'll know how to cut hair. You know what I mean? He'll be able to, you know, be in college, and he'll be able to, you know, cut his friends and all that in college, you know what I mean? And he'll be able to, you know, support himself a little bit, you know. Like hopefully if he doesn't learn anything, it doesn't have to be cutting hair. If I want him to learn anything from me being a barber, from his dad, like really doing this, I want him to learn like that you can work for yourself, whatever it is, you know what I mean? To work for yourself. Don't chase a check, you know. Find something that you can do and work for yourself. Like, it might not be the easiest thing in the world, but I have never been happier in my adult life. Find something where you can work for yourself, whatever lane that is, and then go from there. You know, that's what I want from him to learn.
That's what's up. We hope that you enjoyed our interview with Easy the Barber. Make sure that you check out the contact information listed to be able to reach him. On Instagram, he can be reached at Easy the Barber and at B&B Hair Studio. And for the natural hairstylist, at Josephine Baker. For Style Seat, they can both be reached at styleseat.com/Easy the Barber and styleseat.com/Josephine Baker. Also, remember to check out this interview and more on all of our various outlets listed at the end of this podcast as well. To book your interview, check out the information listed in our closing credits. Let's meet back here again soon, here on the Barber Biz Podcast.